So we are going to start D and F block elements. It is reduced syllabus, so the topic which is there in our syllabus in this year, this much we will cover. So firstly, the general introduction. In this, we need to understand what is transition element, S block element and P block element. S block element is most positive, electropositive elements, and P block elements means electronegative elements, highly electronegative elements. In between these two block elements, the elements which are there, which are mainly metallic in nature, these are called the transition metal elements, as it is actually representing the change between the electropositivity to electronegativity. That's why these elements name are known as transition, and they are metal, therefore they are called transition metals. So D block elements are transition metals. So now what is the general configuration of D block element? We know that it is n-1d 1 to 10 and ns 0 to 2. What does it mean? That means the ultimate shell, that the outermost shell contains it may contain 0 electron or 1 or 2 electron, and penultimate shell, that means the just before the last shell, the previous shell, this is called the penultimate shell. So this last shell contains 1 to 10 number of electron, maybe 1 electron, or it contain 2 electron, like this way, maximum 10 electrons. So this is the general configuration of D block elements or transition element. Now this transition elements, before that we have learned all the block elements as group wise, means column wise we have learned the elements, isn't it? But now we are we will discuss the elements as series wise. We will discuss the element. That means the first series, second series we say. So first transition series is there in our syllabus this year. So first transition series, that is the 3D series we see. We say this first transition series as 3D series. Why this first transition series is called 3D series? Because in this all elements 3D shell is filled. It started from scandium, atomic number is 21, and then next is titanium, then vanadium, then chromium, then manganese, then iron, then cobalt and nickel, then copper, and the last one is zinc. So what is the atomic number now? See, 22 titanium, vanadium 23, chromium 24, manganese 25, iron 26, then cobalt 27, nickel 28, copper 29, and zinc is 30. So this is our first transition series, which we will discuss along with the electronic configuration. And similarly the second series, that means the next period element, okay, and then in which all the elements, actually the last electron enters in the 4D, and in the fifth transition series, that is third transition series, in which the 5D or 5D orbitals actually is filled up, and last one is fourth transition series, in which the 6D series, which we are telling as 6D series, in which 6D orbital are filled up. So 3D series electronic configuration I am discussing. What is the electronic configuration of these all elements? Scandium. If you see scandium, it is 21. That means what? After argon is 18, then 4s2, then 3d1. Okay, if it is scandium. If you are telling about the titanium, then it will be what? Argon 18, then 4s2 20, then as titanium is 22, so it will be 3d2. Like this way you have to fill up. And only the exceptional configuration which I will discuss now, that is the chromium and copper. These are exceptional configuration, in which copper, chromium 24, we are expecting it should be argon 18, then 4s2 20, then 3d4. No, it will be argon 18, then 4s1, then 3d5. Why not 3d4 and 3s2? 4s2, sorry. because 3d4 means it's not a stable configuration, but if it is like this, means 4s is also half filled and 3d is also half filled, then it will gain more stability. Therefore the actual configuration of chromium is like this. And similarly copper, if you are seeing same thing, as we are expecting 18 and then 4s2 20, then 3d 9 it should be, but actually it is also showing like argon 18, then 4s2, then 3d, it's 4s1, sorry, and then 3d10, as d is completely filled up. Therefore it is more stable than the other 3d9. If it is 3d9, then it will not be that much stable. Therefore we are taking this configuration. So this is that, these are the two exceptional electronic configuration of copper and chromium. So electronic configuration is our next topic. You can now try any one of the configuration with the atomic number, and definitely you will try it, and it is very easier, you can do it. And next one, what is the next topic we will now cover up, that is the characteristics of the transition metal. You know, transition metal means what is the main characteristics of this transition metal, you know, that means if it is having incomplete d orbital. I said you mainly main characteristics. If we are discussing the characteristics, how can we understand this is a transition metal? It should have incomplete d orbital. Suppose if I am discussing about the vanadium, or if I am discussing about the iron, suppose iron is 26. So how can we write down the electronic configuration? It will be argon 18, then 4s2, then it is 3d6, isn't it? So 3d6. So it is what, 6 electrons are there in the d orbital. So you can understand in the d orbital, if you draw the 6 electron, the d orbital will be, it is having the 5 orbital, isn't it? 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. That means unpaired electron, how many number of unpaired electron? Firstly it will be filled up like this way, and then one is paired electron, and one orbital will be filled by the double electron, and rest will be unpaired electron. Then how many number of unpaired electron? 4 unpaired electrons. So it should have unpaired electron, or it should have a incomplete. Incomplete means what? Unpaired electron should be present. So if we are seeing that unpaired electron or any empty orbital, d orbital is there in the configuration, then we say this is, yes, this is a characteristics of the transition element. So can we consider copper as a what? Copper and zinc. If you see, I said you already copper electronic configuration. Now zinc and copper both are having the 3d10. 3d10 configuration. I said you d should be incomplete. Either it should have unpaired electron, or it should have any empty orbital, but it is completely filled up, isn't it? So zinc and copper, what will happen in case of can we consider copper as a transition metal? Actually we cannot consider normal copper metal, but actually the most of the compound of copper is copper 2 plus state, isn't it? The oxidation state of copper in most of the compound is copper 2 plus state. Now if you see the configuration of copper 2 plus, you will see that it will be argon 18 and argon 18, and then 4s1, and as 3d10, 4s1, one electron will be lost from the 4s orbital, and another one electron will be lost from the 3d. Therefore it will be 3d9. So incomplete d orbital. Therefore copper 2 plus, which is the most common oxidation state of the copper, this is actually transition in nature. Therefore we can say the copper as a transition metal. So next one, similarly zinc we are getting most of the compound of the zinc is what? Zinc 2 plus. So same thing we can see for the zinc 2 plus also. As the electron, 2 electrons are now in case of zinc, what is happening? See, zinc, it is already having complete d orbital. Zinc 2 plus also, if you check, it will lose its 2 electron from the 4s, therefore it will have the 3d10 configuration. So as they are having both the case 3d10 configuration, therefore zinc cannot be considered as a transition metal. And it's a question that can we consider zinc as a transition metal or not. So this question, and copper also, this type of question comes. Okay, so zinc actually is not considered as a transition metal in both the state, in the metallic state and in the oxidation Zn2 plus oxidation state also. So it was characteristics of the transition metal. So next is what main electronic, after on the basis of the electronic configuration we can understand this is the main characteristics. If it should have if it is having incomplete d orbital, it will be transition metal. That means its most common oxidation state, or in the elemental state it should have some incomplete d orbital. Next one is what is the general characteristics. General characteristics of transition metal, if you discuss general characteristics, is what? Firstly, as it is in between the s block and p block element, therefore it has little bit metallic, they are all metallic in nature. So their means boiling point and melting point, this melting point and boiling point is also they are very high. Okay, and another is they are very electropositive in nature. See, copper metal, silver metal, these are called costly metal even, and iron, most useful metal, iron. Okay, so they form mainly interstitial compounds with the hydrogen, carbon, boron, nitrogen. So these are the main general characteristics I said you, and they can form the alloy. So these things you can get in any book. These are very important thing I said you. Then what are the main thing I said? These are the general characteristics. If anybody will ask you what are the main characteristics of the transition element, so we can say that it has variable oxidation states. Okay, suppose iron will have the two oxidation states, Fe2 plus and 3 plus. So variable oxidation state it will have, most means it will have variable oxidation state. And next one is what? High melting point, boiling point, I said you. So these are the main compound, interstitial compound they can form. So what are the points I said you can note it down. Next point I should discuss, this is the general trends in their properties. What are their atomic and ionic radii, these things we will discuss in the next video. So no more today. Thank you class.